Well, good morning everyone. I love to be provocative, so I'm so pleased to be up here being able to do this and prod and hopefully get you thinking. I want to start with thinking a little bit more broadly beyond our narrow shores and thinking about the real world that we live in beyond Australia, in Asia, and let's understand a few facts about that world. 80% of Australia's international students come from Asia. China, India, Korea, Vietnam and Malaysia are the top 5 senders of international students to Australia. Demand for higher education, fuelled largely by population growth and unmet demand in those countries, has never been higher and will continue to increase for the next 20 years. In the next 10 years, virtually all of the population growth will occur in Africa, Asia and Latin America. By some estimates, the desire for higher education will expand so rapidly that in 20 years there will not be enough classroom seats in the whole world to meet the needs of students who want to pursue higher education. By 2050, the largest countries in the world, excepting US and Japan, will not be among the traditionally wealthy. World population will be 1.2 billion and 99% of youth, 15 to 24-year-olds, will be in the developing world. Today, more students than ever are studying abroad. Growth has been most significant in the last 10 years due to those push factors, and it's likely to continue. So why are we contemplating sending students to those countries where there is already unmet demand? Is this a socially, globally responsible thing for us to be doing as a developed country, one of the wealthiest countries, for a little bit longer, in the region? It simply doesn't make sense. We would be much better to focus attention and effort on creating an Asian experience as part of an internationalised curriculum at home. Think of the last presentation I gave half an hour ago. This is challenging and complex, but it's possible. Think of the previous presentation we had about online learning and the possibilities there, MOOCs. The fact that classroom seats, we're thinking about classrooms in the old traditional way, the seat in the room. We've heard that's old-fashioned, we're not going to be doing that in the future. So why are we talking about doing that on a grander scale? So, if we're going to do this at home, we have to pay attention to the research. Over 10 years of research into interaction across cultures on campus, here in Australia, where we have that massive resource, shows that diversity at home can have both positive and negative effects. Students from Asia will continue to come to Australia, but we have to work to get that interaction happening. We should be spending time, effort, professional development money on assisting academic staff to do that within classrooms in Australia. This is the only way that we can open up the option for the development of Asia capability in the Asian century for all of our students, again connecting with those previous agendas. Because all students need to develop the international, intercultural skills to prepare them for life in the Asian century. We must also not forget, as a nation, that at any given time, doctoral students perform about half of the research conducted in a national system. You will not convince me that a policy of sending students abroad to study will not be about sending our brightest and best away to study. Do we really want to send them away to study to pursue, potentially, their doctoral research in another country and to assist those countries who are our competitors economically in the region to become even stronger? It takes time and effort to develop intercultural skills and international perspectives on campus, but we would be well put. We would be best to spend our time doing that. Because then those international students from Asia who are currently coming to study with us will return home happier. The Australian students will make the connections that are purported to be about to come from sending students abroad, and we'll have potentially many more students making those connections than can possibly ever travel to study. There are many factors that stop students travelling to study. Some of them have been mentioned earlier. We need to be thinking very carefully about those and also looking at some of the research that shows that in fact an international study experience can be a negative thing. It can have a negative impact on the development of students' intercultural skills. Are we sure that we're going down the right track here? What else could we do? Well, apart from internationalisation of the curriculum at home, which I've already discussed in detail this morning, and alluded to some other possibilities just now, we need to think about involving the community in the process of engaging with Asia at home too. This is not optional, it's essential to maintain peace and harmony at home in the long term. Many of us are still smarting from and remember very well some of the events of the last 3 years where community engagement with Asian students at home was the cause of much angst and anxiety and bad press for us. So we could focus our attention on learning, getting the community and our students to learn Asian languages at home by interacting with Asian students on campus. This would benefit everybody. Could we think about encouraging branch campuses of the top universities in the world to establish on our doorstep? Would we dare to go down that path, competition on our doorstep, instead of us going into Asia and setting up transnational campuses? Why not bring those universities into Australia? Why not open up that opportunity for all Australian students, not just for about 1% of Australian students currently travel to study? And as Rachael mentioned, most of those fly right over Asia. It's going to be a big ask for any government in a 3, 6 or even 9-year term to turn any of this around. So, in summary, we not only have the capacity to deliver an Asian experience at home, it's our responsibility to devote our energy and resources to doing this in on-campus settings, and that includes online campus settings, providing a quality international education in Australia, not only for Australian students, but for increasing numbers of students from Asia. We want to build a connected community of scholars, and that is the best way to do it. A focus on providing an Asian experience abroad for a minority of students is at best a diversion from, and at worst a deliberate evasion of our responsibility as members of the Asian region.